Surviving Reality contains explicit content full of snark and sarcasm that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Reality.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly, and this is The Traitors, Season 4, Episode 4, Cut the Head Off the Snake.
A couple of people got thrown off during the watch party, where if you went into Peacock and then you just hit play on The Traitors, it played Season 4, Episode 1. So then people were a little thrown off. They had to catch up there, so always double check your episodes, I guess.
And make sure you set your Bracketology lineup.
That's the big one, too. We did remember to do that this week, so that is good. We don't know the results yet because we're staying unspoiled from Episode 5 here until we do the recap. So we'll have a Bracketology update at the end of Episode 5.
Yeah, you couldn't check the Bracketology.
Couldn't
find something out, huh?
I don't know. I mean,
this is our last double drop in the same night until we get to the finale.
Right, which that'll be a little bit easier to manage moving forward here because, man, it's been really, really difficult to set those with 2 episodes in mind. But I'm just hoping that they leave off on a cliffhanger at the end of Episode 5 where maybe we don't see somebody who gets banished, so we only have one extra murder that happens or something like that. Less people leaving the game
is better for us.
Is better for the Bracketology, yeah.
Well, where we left off at the end of the last episode is the Traitors have to do their face-to-face murder, and they're out in the woods with everybody who is tied to a tree.
They're circling around the tree. They're walking around, pacing, moving around. They're trying to give any of the faithfuls who are going to be sent back to the castle a couple of clues here that they could pick up on, perhaps, maybe.
So we had Eric, Kristen, Caroline, and Ron, who are all out there. And then everyone thinks Lisa as well, because Lisa was up for murder, but she's a traitor, so she's not really up for murder.
They didn't go through the process of tying her to a tree and pretending that she was a faithful that they were planning to murder because she can't be murdered.
I feel like they need to do that, though, because remember last season with Caroline when she almost got caught? Did she get caught?
She basically got caught, but then they were answering the questions for her.
Yes.
Then I think it was Tom Sandoval then answered the questions for Carolyn, and then they were like, Tom,
I miss him.
We were trying to test the knowledge here because Carolyn wouldn't have had an answer for that.
Yeah. So I do think production learned their lesson a little bit from that, and they gave the Traitors more information, or they let them stay longer than they were letting them stay before.
Either that or they got to see what happened with somebody as it was happening. Like they were off in the woods, and so they just watched it from afar. Or they just got like a quick rundown of what happened from Alan as like a summary, and then that's all they have to go off of.
Yeah, because we can't run into that same issue again.
I feel like that would be harder if you just have Alan like telling you what you would have experienced.
See, that's why I'm a method actor, and I want to be immersed in it.
Well, and I think Lisa is too. I feel she's true to the craft here. Yeah, definitely. Like that's a big factor for her.
Yeah, so as everybody's coming in who survived the night, they're starting to ask them questions about, what did you see? What did you hear? What was the experience? Because they think that they're going to have their Caroline moment.
Yes, so it was Ron was in first, and basically he was just like, yeah, it was, it was scary. Probably the most terrifying experience of my life, pretty much. Where I was just waiting to be murdered. I was tied to a tree, and they were like, what, so the Traitors tied you to the tree? No, it was some henchman, some guy with a black mask.
I feel so bad for Ron because it's like he just lives through a day where he has to compete in a challenge and nobody wants to be his friend. Nobody talks to him. He can't really play the game. He waits to get murdered. He survives the night and then he waits to get banished at the round table.
That's
the Groundhog's Day that he is on right now.
And we equated this to when we were talking. It's very familiar to like earlier seasons of Traitors US with Kate. Where Kate
Chastain.
Kate just was so sick of being accused of being a traitor when she was a faithful that everyone just assumed she was a traitor. And so towards the end, she was like, you guys need to banish me because I just want to go home at this point. Where she was going so far out of her way to like throw money out of the challenges so that they wouldn't be able to claim them as the rewards. She's like, you guys need to make me leave the game
She
one
was
way or
working
another.
against them at that point.
Actively, like, if you guys all think I'm a traitor anyway, well then fuck you. I'm gonna take some coins with me too.
I'm waiting for Ron to get there, but right now
He doesn't have that fuck it energy in him, like that level.
He has a little bit of hope because he thought that he heard very light bird-like footsteps last night. And so that's got him looking another direction that he wasn't looking before for a traitor.
The lightest bird-like person here that he knows is Mara. So that's where he's turning his sights to now, which, as we all know, is wrong. She's another faithful. And so this is just going to be another wild goose chase, terrible accusation. This isn't going to go well.
I feel like he is expecting that if he brings someone to the group and it picks up that if they turn out to be a traitor, he'll end up winning their faith back.
Here's the thing. You can't. There's no way to win now. Because, first of all, if you're going to bring up somebody's name, nobody's going to believe you. So even if you do pose that as an accusation, you're not going to get people on board with it. And then the other side of that being, if you are right, then people are just going to say, oh, you're a traitor and you threw a fellow traitor under the bus. That becomes the accusation.
Yourself, yeah.
Well, yeah, you were trying to get heat off of you by winning favor with us. And that was your play, Ron.
I think his best bet is just to be quiet and play in the background for a while.
That's what everybody needs to do. You don't want to be the first one to speak up at roundtables, like especially in the first few roundtables. No, because if you're wrong, people are never going to forget that.
As he's retelling his story, he leaves out what everybody thinks is an important detail.
The axe.
The henchman had an axe.
Yeah, that's like a scary detail, right? Because Ron didn't even mention an axe, even though Lisa was in next, and she goes into, well, first of all, she was kind of shocked and surprised that people are like asking for all these details about what happened. She was like, oh, I wasn't prepared for my scene. I didn't have my lines ready. Hold on, let me get a drink of water, a sip of tea, which that looks suspicious a little bit already, but okay.
She has a long tale to tell.
Yes.
She needed the water.
It turns out this is vital in her storytelling process here. So then she begins to regale us with the encounter at the maple tree, as she refers to it. It was a large, like a maple tree.
A maple in the middle of Scotland.
It's just, they're known for their succulent maple syrup. That's what they're known for here. I think I got some on my coat, actually.
It's such a vivid retelling of what happened.
Where even Candace is listening, where she's like, it's a little too much. It's a little over the top. But Lisa is a housewife. Housewives are over the top, right? Like, this makes sense. So it's not too suspicious, I guess. But if anybody else was telling the story this way, they would immediately suspect this person's a traitor. So Lisa has that going for her, at least. What made me think that maybe this was just Alan telling her what the experience would have been and she didn't actually go through it herself was when they asked her, oh, who tied you to the tree? Was it one of the like gold-faced people? And then she was like, oh no, it was
Line.
the henchman. It was the henchman.
The henchman.
But she had to like remember the name of the character who did this to her, not it was, I don't know, his name. We weren't on a first name basis. He looked like an executioner.
One of the many scary extras wearing a costume with a mask.
An axe. Yeah, but he had a black mask on. So like she was able to corroborate enough of the details where it was like
she got away with it.
Yeah, she had that, and then she actually added some details where then people were like, Ron didn't mention an axe. So like normally you might suspect Lisa for spilling too much information, but instead they're leaning over to Ron and being like, oh, he didn't have enough detail in his story, so something's off.
The next person who survived the night is Eric. Eric also believes that he has a secret clue that he was able to hear while he was out in the woods.
But he's not going to tell anybody what it is. He has a new theory, but he's kind of nervous about bringing it up, so he's going to see how the day plays out.
He does tell us it was a laugh. He heard a laugh. But that's all we know for right now.
But we don't know who that laugh belongs to, allegedly, at this point. And so when he's going through his story, most of it still lines up. He did mention the axe. He mentioned the black mask. He referred to the person as a henchman. And so that's kind of making everybody else relax. He was also wrong, though, by saying, it sounded like there were two traitors.
Mm-hmm.
Just sounded like 2. Because Ron said 3. I don't know if Lisa
Did you say
said
3 or 4. Somebody said 3 or 4.
I think Ron said 3. Eric said 2, and then the next person in was
Kristen.
Because
it comes down to Kristen.
And Kristen
and
said it sounded like 3 or 4. Kristen wasn't sure.
It's got everyone paranoid now.
Yeah, 4. Well, I don't think you can go off auditory clues when you're blindfolded to a tree.
That's so ridiculous that they're convinced that they're... First of all, they've had all their senses available to them since the day they got in the castle, and they haven't been doing so well.
Still don't know.
Now we're going to eliminate one.
Well, here's what happened.
And be convinced that we're catching on to something.
Here's the defense of that. When you eliminate a sense, your other ones,
stronger.
Yes, the other ones heighten. So I think that's what they're going off of now. My sense of perception, it felt like there was 4 or 5, maybe 6 or 7 people that were around me, circling me at the tree. I was very nervous. I was very apprehensive about this. I felt like I was surrounded at one point.
We get a flashback to find out what happened to Caroline. She's tied to the tree, lifts up her blindfold, and it's revealed that she has the 3 traitors standing before her. So she has been murdered face to face.
Which we assumed, because we are on the Lisa Rinna train of logic for this season, apparently, that yes, you have to go for a housewife at this point.
Rinna, you bitch.
Rinna, you bitch. Oh, yes. Back to Dubai for you, Caroline. Bye-bye.
Now, the reason they told her they were getting rid of her was because she talked too much.
Which I don't think was accurate.
We didn't get much camera time from her, really.
It didn't seem like she was very talkative. I mean, maybe she's active like in groups, but for Caroline to be like, oh, 2 housewives as traitors? I thought the housewives were supposed to have each other's backs. Not when 2 of them are traitors, you dum-dum.
These 2 do.
Yeah, those 2 are good. Yeah, like, what are you talking about? We were supposed to have each other's backs. Do you know what you're here for? What game are you playing?
R.I.P. Caroline.
R.I.P. Caroline. That's the end of Caroline. It was the best choice that they had available.
Mm-hmm. I think it was great because it's a good cover for the housewives. We've finally gotten rid of one of them. And Colton was her partner in the last challenge.
I think that's interesting.
And that's going to send him on a wild goose chase to avenge her murder. But we have another theory that's starting to prevail in the castle.
Theories emerging this morning. We've got lots of theories.
Tiffany.
Lots of salmon, lots of theories.
Tiffany is starting to spread that she's suspecting Ron, Michael, and Jam Jam are the 3 traitors.
That's it.
She's nailed them. All 3 of them.
She's going 3 for 3 here, and no more guesses. That's it. This is what she's running with. I think it's a stretch. It's a stretch to go with, oh, it's these 3 people.
She's confidently saying she suspects it's all 3 of them. She was a little iffy about Jam Jam, but now she feels pretty confident in that. It's so diluted to believe that you have caught all 3 of the traitors.
And that you're just dead set on that, and that's what you're going to roll with.
No one's ever done that before.
There's been people who have, maybe if they name 3 people, they got 2 of them, and it's like, ooh, that was impressive. To get 2 out of 3 of your guesses are actual traitors, that would be impressive. So to go 3 for 3, she is not doing that this time, if you couldn't tell already.
So she's going to start gunning for them. Now, meanwhile, in the house, most of the group is still focused on Ron.
Most, yeah.
His story was a little off at breakfast about what happened with the murder.
More suspicion.
Still feel uncomfortable about what went down with Portia the first night.
It's mostly that. Yeah, mostly. And he was too close with Donna. Donna was banished from the game and revealed to be a traitor. So all of that stuff stacked up against Ron right now. It's not looking good.
Yeah. Which Candace loves. Candace is trying to keep everyone focused on Ron.
Focus on Ron. Yeah, because we want this banishment to go the direction that we want it to go. Remove people from the game that we want to remove in the expected ways that we're trying. But Colton's going to come in here. He's going to shake that stuff up because he has a whole theory that he's chasing now too. And the name he's bringing up is Tiffany. Because Tiffany sat in here yesterday and told him right to his face at dinner last night that she laid out exactly who the 3 traitors were and how we're going to get them out in banishment in what order. And that's how this is going to go. And he didn't like being told what to do.
He didn't like a woman telling him what to do.
Yeah, he didn't like being bossed around.
Yeah.
So that's how he suspects. He knows immediately that that's how Tiffany's running the turret as well. She's a traitor.
To be fair, Tiffany floated a theory that pointed to Jam Jam. And that explanation, you could just swap her name with Jam Jam's and it would make total sense.
Yes, in which Jam Jam and Colton had discussed that in the kitchen at one point in this episode too, when he was talking about her theorizing, going through that. It made it sound like, yes, that was just her gameplay being attributed to Jam Jam.
So when Colton brings Tiffany's name up to the first group that he talks to, that was Rob, Mark, and Monet, who were all together outside.
I mean, Colton's telling everybody. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, he's in they were over by, like, the badminton net. And then I think he's telling people in the car on the way to the mission. He's just telling everybody, this is what I'm doing, so I need to get a shield tonight because I got a big play coming.
Right. That's why he said it to everybody before they left for the mission.
Yes.
He thought that they would, I guess, try to help him out, not go after him. They don't really know what the mission's going to be yet.
They don't know. Yeah. And like, that's the interesting part here of like, this must mean that based on the footage that we've seen, Colton has some pull with the house at least, or thinks he does. Clearly he does, because he's just walking around telling people, hey, I'm going after Tiffany.
Well, and he must be able to trust that they're not going to go back to Tiffany and say, hey, Colton's talking about you.
Maybe it's because people saw Tiffany with Michael Rappaport a little too much.
I don't think that helped you, girl.
No. Yeah, that was not the play. Not the play to have. Because I think just being around Michael Rappaport is enough to stain your reputation in this game, in this house.
Uh-huh.
So other people were like, leery about it in general. And so there was kind of an othering that was happening just from that process. So then Colton said, yeah, well, I already have an axe to grind with her too, so I'm going to go for it.
Why do you think he has managed to get so many people willing to listen to him?
I think it's at this point in the game, you have the faithfuls who can speak up about things that the rest of the faithfuls like that. They like that someone can gauge a general assessment in the house and then speak for everyone. So then that way it's them, but they're saying things that everybody else at the table wants to hear because they feel like their opinions are being validated as well, where, yes, I have suspicions of that person also.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like they're using him as a shield.
To an extent.
You can be the one responsible for bringing that up at the round table.
Well, and then, yeah, he becomes the mouthpiece.
You'll be the fall guy.
Basically.
At the end of it when it goes wrong.
Because the other catch here is that he was right. He was right about Donna.
Mm-hmm.
He got tricked into voting for Portia, and we voted out a faithful. But hey, if it had been up to him, we would have voted Donna out the first night, and then he would have been right the first night.
I did think it was interesting because we get Rob's reaction to Colton bringing this up, floating Tiffany's name, and he's all for it because like the more people who are not traitors, who are suspected of being traitors, the better, in my opinion.
Honestly, yeah. That's the way to play it.
I want to compare that, though, to the way that Candace is playing. Because Candace is trying to keep everyone focused on Ron.
Right. Which, if you go too heavy-handed on that, well, I mean, it can feel like different ways of playing. Like, if you're a faithful, are you really pushing for the person who you're very suspicious of? Or are you just open to everybody throwing names out there? Because I think Rob's other point, too, was that he was noticing Colton's theory is very impressive, how he worked this out. So I think that's also raising Colton as a threat level to the traitors, where Rob is realizing, this cat knows ball. So, like, we got to be careful here.
All right, he may be wrong this time, but sooner or later, that logic may get him.
If that comes
right
to us, then that's going to be a big problem because he also has pull in the house, too.
I like the way Candace is playing because I think she's doing a good job playing as a faithful.
Yes.
It's convincing. I don't know if how Rob is playing is going to be good long term. He's going to have to come forward and start saying stuff at some point.
Well, what's dangerous about that, too, is that he's kind of pairing up with Colton on this theory a little bit.
So far, he's been just moving with the house.
He's not vocal and going to support that or add to any claims or anything like that. he's not doing primary support or secondary support for stuff. He's just kind of voting with the group. It gets harder to do that later in the game because there's less of a consensus, and then the smaller groups that form, then you have to align accordingly based on those voting blocks, basically.
Well, let's go to the Wicker Man mission.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage was booked, so we had to come up with something else.
By the way, I loved Alan's outfit this entire episode. The orange glasses, the bedazzled jewels over the eye.
Yeah, that was a lot.
The strands of wicker, his little vest.
Oh, I
Did
didn't
you see
even
that they
pick up
added
on
that over what he had on in the morning?
Oh, no, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, it was for the challenge.
Very impressive.
Wardrobe change. All right, so this challenge requires them to follow some straw dolls that are hung up in trees. So Robin Brown would...
Dollies. You're finding
great.
dollies.
She would blow through these woods.
Was it straw or was it corn? Corn husk dolls?
I don't know.
Come on.
Something flammable.
Well, yeah. And then the dollies will indicate where a spear is nearby. So you have to fish out a spear out of the woods, find a spear. You come light the spear on fire. And then there's these 10 huge effigy statues. Wicker Man, Burning Man.
Horrifying.
That you just have to yell someone's name and then pierce the target to set it ablaze, and then that burns their shield. Because everyone in the game starts with a shield, and then you're basically picking 10 people that you're going to put up for risk of murder tonight. And you get $2,000 for each one that you do as well. That's the other benefit.
Can't forget the money.
Clearly, yeah, that's another factor here. How would I break the challenge? How would I break it? We'll talk about it. Because basically it's the part of everybody has the same idea for this mission, but nobody, like, they kind of broke into separate groups and they're not working together as one solid unit here of faithfuls, because basically you have all of these smaller groups who are saying, well, I think this person is a traitor, so I'm going to put them up for murder. And if they survive murder tonight, they're definitely a traitor. Okay. And it's like, well, you have 10 people now.
I was getting so annoyed because they were like, yep, get their shield away. I think they're a traitor. If they live the night, that's our confirmation.
That's proof.
And we heard that 6 times over at
5,
least.
6. Yeah, that lines up with the theory again. How many were circling last night that you heard?
So we're going to learn absolutely nothing from this.
Well, okay, so here's how I would break this. It's either collect all the spears and bring them back to the effigies, and then you pick who you're going to do. Do you sacrifice some money by only picking a few? If you pick like 4 people, 3 people that you're very suspicious of, and then 1 person that you have absolutely no suspicion of at all. Mm-hmm. And then base it off of that.
Well, if they were trying to actually like learn something from this at the end, that would be a good way to do it.
Yeah, because everybody's just going, oh, they told us to do this thing, so we do the thing. No, you don't have to. You're going to get more money doing that. But what if you all say, hey, what is this worth to us? Do we want to catch a traitor or do we want to make money?
Yeah. It was the same as in the first challenge with the boats.
Yes.
Where, I mean, we don't know that they could have done this, but we were questioning why don't they just wait till they get up there, bring all of them back, and then start making decisions.
Or if you're moving, if you can move them around, or whatever the different rules are that maybe they explained as part of filming, but they didn't need to explain because nobody was trying to break the game because I wasn't there. But this would be a similar thing of like, are we collecting the spears and then we're making decisions as a group? Because it was basically whichever group found a spear and then they would bring it back up to pick who they were going to burn their shield, essentially. And they're just calling out the name while they're doing that. Well, is that beneficial? You don't really know who else picked the other people either.
Oh no, they were finding out who was burning their effigies, because then they were just straight revenge going for that person.
If you're running up at the same time where somebody already just picked you, and then so now you're going to just pick somebody from their group, that's not really the strategy that we're going for here, right? Is who do we have as suspicion? Who are the suspicious people that we need to put in here? How do we limit the choices for the traitors? Because now we've handed them 10 options for murder tonight. That's not going to help us.
Nobody's thinking that hard about it.
Well, that's what
now
I'm saying.
They should be. They're not.
Yeah, that's the issue here.
Okay, one of the big important things that happens before they even start the challenge is when they're picking teams, Monet turns to Candace and is like, I don't really want Lisa on our team because I don't trust her fully.
And so Candace is like, oh, yeah, I'm going to have to tell Lisa about this. But then the other kicker, too, is that Lisa did ask to join, and Monet's like, okay. And so, like, Lisa did join the team, and now Candace is trying to pull her aside as they're running around in the woods here to be like, hey, Monet said your name. Like, there is a risk level. There's a threat here.
Mm-hmm.
Keep an eye out. Warning, warning, danger.
Yeah, pay attention. See if anybody else starts saying your name because that's not good. Now, I was worried because we're bringing up Monet. Monet has been, like, not really a focal point at this point for the traitors.
Yeah, not like a highlight, yeah.
But now we're on the traitors' radar for saying Lisa's name.
Yes.
And then Monet speared Tiffany and eliminated Tiffany's shield. So Tiffany came back and speared Monet. So that means Monet's up for murder.
Right. Yeah, so this is, again, that tit for tat sort of thing that's happening here where I don't think that's necessarily the strategy to be going with in this exact moment of just getting revenge on people who happen to take out your shield when we're all doing the same thing here, right?
Well, unless you're Michael Rappaport, because Rob is the one who spears him, and then he immediately wants revenge, but then he goes after Tara.
Well, because Tara was in that group. So that was the last face that he saw before they ran back to the woods. And so he's saying her name, I guess.
Over and over and over.
He can't stop saying her name now. Yeah. That's the other part.
Speaking of breaking the rules, Alan's like tired of him too.
Yeah.
Alan can't stand Michael Rappaport. He's like, You only had to say their name the one time.
Just once. Thank you.
Just for clarification.
We're all on the same page.
Don't give Michael another spear, please.
Oh, and also Alan's having some fun taking shots at Dorinda. What was that? That was Rob.
Rob picked up Maura and carried her all the way back to where the effigies were. And then Alan made a joke about how Dorinda hasn't had a ride in a while.
Yeah, it looks like she needs a ride. And it's like, little side eye at the camera for that. So that was good.
I love Alan. I really think of all of the versions of first of all, we haven't seen the Irish one.
Well,
and I think really want to.
I think that would be good.
But we'll speak to all the other ones we've seen.
Yes.
That I think by far he's the best host.
Nailed the mood and the theme and the drama and elevatedness of it all. Yes, that's where it's at there.
So by the end of this, we have Ron, Tiffany, Monet, Michael, Tara, Lisa, Maura, Johnny, Jam Jam, and Steven.
Jam Jam was the last one, which everybody got to come back and watch that one happen. And it was basically down to Dorinda or Jam Jam. And so that was the tough part here.
So out of this list, Ron has been suspected as a traitor. Tiffany's name has come up as a traitor. Michael from the beginning.
Jam Jam.
Lisa just got thrown out from Monet.
And Lisa, yeah.
Ron thinks Maura's a traitor because of her light bones.
Her light feet, yeah, light steps.
And Jam Jam.
Yeah, so like six of them have suspicion on them.
Oh my God.
Well, and suspicion meaning like Maura was being suspicious of Jam Jam after Jam Jam's shield got burned and he like broke down. Like he was leaving the game right now. They're asking you to pack your bags and get out of here. No, dude, you're just up for murder. This is the first time you've been up for murder in the game. Calm down.
He's overplaying I'm a scared faithful.
But he's not overplaying it. He is scared faithful. And so he's like freaking out, legitimately freaking out, but it looks like he's fake crying. There are no tears. He's just panicking. And so then Mara's like, why is this dude pretending to cry about his shield burning? You're up for murder, not being murdered.
You're
actively.
Really damned if you do, damned if you don't in this game, because it all depends on someone else's perception of how you should react to something.
Correct. Yeah, that's not how I would have reacted, and that's not aligning with what's happening right now. So that's where you're kind of caught between it. You have to toe a line and be neutral. You have to be neutral enough where it's, oh man, I really wish I didn't have my shield gone, but all right, well, hopefully I'm still here tomorrow. It's just, you have to, anything negative, you can't be overly negative or overly positive. You have to be somewhere in the middle all the time to remain neutral. Don't become a target.
I don't think I could do it.
I don't think so.
No, especially the longer I'm there and the less sleep I get.
Yeah, you have big reactions to things. And I think it's only I would have a Dorinda moment where I'd be like, I'm so prepared. I have all this stuff. And then all it takes is for me to be left out on the docks one time and come back to a house that has been completely eaten through. There's no food left and I'll lose my shit on everybody.
That would be it.
And I'm out.
Well, now we have all the pre-roundtable chit chat that takes place. Eric is still sitting on this clue that he feels like he gathered while he was tied to the tree last night. But he's hearing a lot of people floating around some names, and he's debating whether or not he feels comfortable bringing it up at the round table.
Because he doesn't want to suffer the same fate that Ron did the first night, where everybody had a pretty good consensus going into this, and then out of nowhere, Portia's name came up, and there was a ton of evidence for Portia, and so then that's where that all steered away. So he doesn't want to be responsible for that.
While all the strategizing is taking place, Michael Rappaport is eating a plate.
Michael Rappaport is showing us new ways of using knives and plates. The silverware, cutlery, it's just on full display.
I think this is how you know that production hated him.
Yeah.
Because every opportunity they get to troll him, showing him eating like a total monster, they do.
Nobody was talking about Michael eating the way that he does. They just shot to that B-roll.
Oh, they just show it to us.
Because they're like, hey, it's 2 episodes in a row now of him shoveling food off the plate down his gullet.
No, he has part of the plate in his mouth.
Yes, for some of it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like, he's using the fork as a shovel, basically, and scraping it off the plate directly into his mouth. But he has to hold the plate up to his mouth in order to do that.
Also, there have been a couple of different interviews that I've seen with people from the show where they're being asked about Michael Rappaport, and they're being very clear that what we've seen so far is not even the half of it.
Is toned down.
Yeah.
This is the edited version of Michael Rappaport that we are experiencing on the show. So as mildly irritating and sort of annoying that we find him to be, because in this episode, he was pretty reserved. He was kind of taking a back seat. That was what he said his goal for the day was. I'm going to lay low. I'm going to play it cool. I'm going to be quiet, and I'm just going to pay attention to things. That was his goal for the day. I think he did that, at least in what they put together for us for the edit here, especially. He wasn't really having any big moments, except for screaming Tara's name repeatedly. But, I mean, that was part of his gameplay, too, I guess. So
no. We'll see where you get 6 to 8 hours of him being a normal person for a little bit. Ron and Tiffany's names are the ones that are getting circulated the most going into this roundtable. This is where Colton goes to Jam and is like, just so you know, Tiffany is dragging you behind your back to everyone. The gamers really did not last this season. Isn't this crazy?
No, yeah, they're getting picked apart here. Well, and first of all, the first 2 murders were gamers. So, which is strange too, because it's like, well, you weren't really able to target group-wise like that. It just ended up being like that because Donna, the secret traitor, was shortlisting a bunch of randos and a gamer. And so then it was like, well, obviously that's the threat. So remove the threat from the game. So it just kind of ended up being a targeting, but like not really, kind of.
That like makes me question how involved production was in Donna's gameplay.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of the people who made those lists weren't the ones that I think they wanted to keep around.
Like who weren't contributing for the show.
Like they didn't want
aspect?
another Dorinda situation like last season where somebody who they thought was going to be a big personality ended up getting out right away.
I feel like Rob C was a big loss where a lot of people were watching because they were excited about seeing him play, and you got to see him for one episode.
I know, but the thing that starts to become suspicious about it is if production is more in the know about what they're all thinking that maybe they haven't expressed to anyone else in the game yet, that if we're having somebody make a short list, because we didn't get to see Donna explain any of her rationale as to why those people went on the list. I'm wondering if like maybe some of the gamers were catching on to things a little too quickly, and that's not very fun.
Well, I think the gamers are always the first ones to
Figure
figure
out
things
what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, not Colton?
Not Colton. Definitely not Colton. So like Colton seems to be very confident in himself that he has figured things out, much in the way that Ron was very confident the first night when he thought that Portia was a traitor and he made the push to have her eliminated, but then he was wrong. So we can never forgive him for that. And Colton was right about Donna. So now everything that he does and says is correct moving forward.
Yeah, I don't know. These people who come on the show say that they've watched the other seasons. If that's true, you got to know that early in the game, when someone's right about who a traitor is, they're usually not right instantaneously again.
No.
Like their next shot, usually wrong.
Way wrong. 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Probably.
The luck runs out.
Yes.
So
lightning does not strike twice.
They're not just like that good. Colton is very good, though, at socializing and making his way around the castle and really petitioning hard for people to go after Tiffany.
That's what I'm saying.
Tonight.
He's campaigning.
Yeah.
Like he is pushing for this is what I'm doing. He's making sure it's on everybody's radar so everybody knows what to expect.
Which he does know. Like, this is a big swing. And if he misses,
this could be problems.
That's probably not going to be good.
Yeah.
So we go into the round table, and Colton starts us off pointing at Tiffany. And I think Tiffany was blindsided by this.
Yes. Michael Rappaport did not know that this was coming up, and he's the only person that she really checks in with, I think, for strategy sessions now. No, I think the issue was she was doing pretty well, like, maintaining her composure at first, and then she did kind of realize, like, as she was speaking more about this, when she had her rebuttal process, she was getting a little bit more fired up. She's like, I think I'm taking this a little personally, too. So, like, just a heads up on that. But most people at the roundtables don't like when people get confrontational, when there's, like, a fight back that happens to an accusation. Then people think that, oh, they're guilty.
I'm going to disagree with that a little bit because
Okay.
I think if you're not strong enough in your response, people question whether or not you're actually a faithful.
Again, it's the balance.
I
You have
know.
to do enough to put up a fight where you're not going to tolerate somebody making that accusation about you, but also don't overdo it where then you become combative, aggressive, all those things.
I think the issue is when you demean other people.
Well, yeah, it gets cutting.
Right.
Then.
Because she came back and said, I'm smarter than you, Colton.
Anytime you're saying that you're better than people at the table, that's not going to help either.
Hey, you know what? They're usually right.
I'm not saying
that.
that she's wrong.
But
I'm not saying she's wrong.
Other people don't like to hear somebody elevate themselves above everyone else, especially in a game where you're playing against each other like this.
Yeah, they want to be able to hoist someone up above them like Colton, because then that's what's happening, is they are elevating his opinions and what he thinks is going on in the game. They want him to speak for them, so they are elevating him in that way.
I don't think it's because they think he's smarter than them, though.
No. Yeah, it's just that he can gauge that and he can converse in a way where he knows what's going on with the
He's
general
willing to
tone.
put himself out there and deal with the ramifications of it.
What does
They're
that?
not.
What does that mean, though? Deal with the ramifications of it. Because
Well,
I don't
if
think
you're
they know.
wrong, if you're wrong,
I don't think he knows what happens when you're wrong yet, because he hasn't been wrong yet. So that's why he's still running around doing all this.
We saw
stuff.
what happened to Ron in this game.
Right.
That's if you haven't even watched all the other seasons of the Traitors.
Correct. Yeah.
You're usually the next person to go when you direct people in the wrong way.
I mean, but Ron's still here, so that's the
Yeah.
thing, is where it's like, well, not really.
They're trying to get rid of Ron.
Candace is, yeah, because Candace is like, hold on, because it sounds like we're going for Tiffany here, to the point where Colton is asking her clarification on how to spell her name, because he's voting for her and she's got to go home, all of that. So between this, like, starting off the conversation, we're in a rough spot here for Tiffany. It's not looking good. So Candace is trying to swoop in to remind everyone, hey, remember when we had a general consensus about Ron being a traitor? Let's maybe try to stick to that, because this feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, night one, when we all came in with Donna ready to go on our chalkboards, and then Ron brought up Portia, and we all went, oh, why did we vote for Portia? We should have voted for Donna.
See, that's why I like Candace's game.
Yeah.
Because this is safe. Because all you're doing is saying, hey, the house had this consensus at first, and then we've all gotten distracted and started looking different ways. And this person is still sitting here with the suspicion of being a traitor. Maybe we should just go back to voting for Ron.
And look, we've done that before. And what did we get? We voted out a faithful. So let's not do that again. Let's stay with this and go with the person.
It's a safe name to throw out because
Right.
it's totally fair to want to go back to your first suspect.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So that's a good redirect, because then you're going to someone where there's a general consensus of them being a traitor already too.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ron brings up the light footsteps that he heard. And
yes, because Maura was basically calling him out.
because they're sitting right next to each other, incredibly awkward.
Yes, yes.
Because she had already heard that he had said her name.
Ron was saying that Candace sounded like she was all over the place. And then Maura was like, well, it sounds like you're all over the place
So are
too.
you.
Yeah.
You're accusing me.
Because you brought up my name. Why would you even do that? So then he introduces the swift foot theory, the the light foot, the footsteps that were...
I think Ron just really shouldn't be saying anything right now. Don't throw out anyone else's names.
I don't think that you have, anywhere to be going with the theories. Like, people aren't going to be open to that. They're just going to be suspicious. They think that you're misdirecting because now you're throwing out a totally new name. I think if he would have pitched it as, I heard a set of footsteps that sounded heavy, like larger person footsteps, and then I heard light footsteps.
I think that's all he should have said.
Period. No
Yes.
names attached.
Let other people come to their own conclusions.
What do
They
you
don't
think?
trust you enough.
What do you guys think? And then that way it gets you involved, where then you can make sense of that a little bit. And then you're kind of in on that theory too, where then you could say, I agree with that. And then you build relationships from there. So that could have been your foothold in, but instead you brought a totally new name. And then it seems like you're deflecting again. Yeah, you're going the same route.
I guess since Ron brought up what he thought he heard while he had the blindfold on, it gave Eric the confidence to speak up about the laugh that he heard.
Well,
Which is
also,
unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, because as we come to find out here, Eric attributes the laugh to Tiffany. And so maybe that was the other reason too. He kind of felt that shift, or heard all of the people considering Tiffany as well, based on Colton's campaigning that was going on for the day, or what was being brought up at the round table here. So he's confident in his assessment. He's a musician. He listens to music over and over again, 40 different mixes of the same song. He has to hear the subtle differences. He knows pitch. He knows tune. And he knows a laugh and a giggle when he hears it. What if it was the executioner? What if it was the henchman?
I don't know. The idea that you've been here with someone for maybe 48 hours, you haven't even spent that much time together because they go to their own hotels where they're sequestered until they come back to the castle. And you think that you know their laugh and you heard it in the middle of the woods while you were blindfolded?
I liked how nervous Lisa was too when they were like, I heard a laugh, and she's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Did I laugh? Because then you start thinking too, is where it's
questioning everything that
did
happened.
am I the one who did it? No, he's way off.
That's what, I would hate being a traitor in this game, because the amount of anxiety that I would feel when somebody says something like that.
Oh yeah.
And then
Well, you
the
would be-
immediate relief of them being so stupid.
Well, you would be because then you would go, oh.
I would laugh. It would be funny.
Well, yeah, at that point,
It's
when
like,
it
I
wasn't
got myself so worked up that I was about to be outed. And then you guys are constantly wrong.
It's just wrong. As soon as he started saying it, I was like, he's either going to be very right or he's going to be very wrong. And I'm leaning towards very wrong. I don't think that he's going to hit the nail on the head with this one.
Yeah, Tiffany was like, I think you need to get a new career.
At least while you're here.
Yeah.
So that's where we end up with still kind of two names in the running here for the most part.
She tried to defend herself the best she could. Tiffany's talking about how she needs the money. She really wants to be here. She wants to keep playing as a faithful. And that you guys are just doing the Traitors' work for them. So congratulations.
I get her deflection too. That really meant something to me was that when she listed out 3 names and then Colton was going after her and she goes, so if I listed out 3 names of Ron, Jam Jam, and Michael, and you're saying that I'm a traitor, so it's either there's 4 traitors and I just spoke out against all 3 of the other traitors right now, or like, why would it be? I think it was just like the misdirection aspect of it there, or of like, why would I do that?
Pointing at the other traitors that I'm playing with?
Yes, because like that's what he was accusing her of. Because then that's what she's like. Do you think Jam Jam is a traitor? And he's like, well, no. Okay, do you think Michael is? Not necessarily. No, he said not to Ron. He didn't think that Ron was a traitor, and he's not sure about Jam Jam. And so then it was like, okay. So then if you're just saying that, oh, I'm wrong about all of my assessments, that's one thing. But to say you're a traitor because you threw out all these other names, well, that doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. So let's start the vote. Tiffany votes for Jam Jam. Candace and Michael vote for Ron. And everybody else votes for Tiffany.
I didn't think it was going to be that big of a landslide, which, again, elevates Colton on the risk level for the traitors. Because Tiffany was not on anybody's radar before.
It's not just Colton.
It's not just Colton, because
it's Eric as well.
The Eric evidence factor here was very, very big. I think that did convince a lot of people very quickly. And then I think you have to base it off of that reaction then, because once Tiffany gets up there and she confirms, no, I'm not a traitor, I'm a faithful. So good luck. And Eric feels bad. Like, you could tell that Eric felt terrible about how that played out.
Well, he finally took a shot at saying something and he was completely wrong.
Well, and it's different though, because then Colton was trying to be like, oh, we're in the same boat, man. Like, we were both having a huge accusation against Tiffany here. So if she turns out to be a faithful, that's going to be a big problem for the both of us. And it's like, I think it's different. I think it's different for us because Colton just brought Tiffany up kind of out of nowhere today, where, I mean, like, he had sort of an inkling there, but to shift that much to be like, oh, we got to go after her, that was strange. That would have been more suspicious to me than Eric, where it seemed like Eric felt terrible about what he said and he was wrong. What I didn't like, though, was when Natalie was consoling Eric of, oh, you were so brave to say that, though. Could you say that to Ron from night 1 when he was so brave to bring up all his accusations against Portia?
It is interesting to see how, we'll see how the next episode goes. But right now, coming out of the roundtable, there's not that same feeling of like, oh, we can't trust them anymore.
Right. It doesn't seem like it right off the bat where it's just, oh, well, we're faithfuls. We voted out faithfuls before, so faithfuls make mistakes. But except for those faithfuls who made the first mistake, we can never forgive them. They are fuck ups and they just mess everything up. So I don't know if it's just like they're looking at it as Colton is back to even, where he got a traitor and now he made a mistake. So now they're kind of like back to level set with him. But Eric wasn't right about any traitors before this. So is he completely untrustworthy now?
Well, the thing that would make me look at Eric a little sideways is that his evidence is something that can't be corroborated.
Right.
Right? It's something that happened in the woods while he was supposedly out there maybe getting murdered.
Yes.
Whereas Colton was laying out an incorrect theory, but based off of things that everybody saw and heard from Tiffany.
Right. Yeah. And just those two things together in tandem.
I would question like adding the nail in the coffin with that
Yeah.
piece of evidence that can't be corroborated by anybody.
Yeah. Is that worse then? But at the same time, though, too, it's like, well, that is what I thought. That is what I thought I heard. I thought it was her. And so that's just where the suspicion now is going to be flying all over the place.
One thing I want to go back to at the roundtable, though, was the way the vote went down. So Candace and Michael voting for Ron. I think Candace, we've been, saying nice things about her game so far in this episode. That's concerning.
You don't want to be on a voting block with Michael.
Were right. Yes.
That's step one.
And then also you weren't able to convince anyone else to look a different direction.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just because to say, oh, it's Ron because he was close to Donna, it's another one of those, yeah, we assume Ron is a traitor, so like he's not a threat to us.
But if I'm Candace, I think I'm going to fade into the background for the next maybe night or two.
We'll keep it quiet. Yeah.
You don't have enough like pull sway with the group for them to change their minds about what they're already set on.
This is where it's hard. You have to be,
you're not influential enough.
You're not influential enough, and you can't be, because then you become a threat, and then people say, why aren't you getting murdered?
Mm-hmm.
If you are a leader and then you're still in the game, how is that happening? Because the traitors would have murdered you as a threat. So you have to get close with someone who does have pull. So it seems like Rob was trying to befriend Colton because he was respecting, that was a good theory. I mean, he's wrong. He's wrong about Tiffany. But the way that he got there was very impressive. So, like, I want to keep this dude close.
Well, maybe it's good to have somebody within the traitors in the know about what Colton is thinking.
Yes.
Because, again, this is a big spotlight in the fact that we had a traitor go up against Colton and try to get the group to vote for somebody else, and they all went with Colton. That makes him a huge threat to the traitors, in my opinion.
I think, like what you said, though, because if Eric had said something about Ron where he was convinced,
that have buried him?
Would that have been enough for then people to just say, oh, that's Ron? So I don't think it's necessarily it's Candace's pull versus Colton's, because there was that other big piece of evidence that Eric laid out that corroborated Colton's theory. So then that's why a lot of people went with that.
Well, there's a new theory in the house.
Oh,
now,
boy. Yeah.
Coming from Michael Rappaport after this roundtable.
Of course. Yeah. The think tank.
He suspects the three hunks. So after sitting back and observing for all of, 6 hours today, he suspects Steve and Rob or Colton are the traitors.
At least one of them is a traitor. One of the hunks. And I love how he was explaining this theory to Kristen, and Kristen's like, I'm sorry, the hunks? Like, who do you mean by that? Like, who are you talking about? Of the people in the house?
I can't go off of your assessment of what a hunk is.
Who do you find hunky in the house? And so he lays it out for her. Yeah, it's those three.
So not good. Here we are where Michael Rappaport has had the group has not listened to him at all yet. But here we go, and he's finally throwing out more names, and he has identified a traitor within there.
Accidentally.
Not because he's good at this.
No.
It's just eventually.
Well, it's the same thing.
If you throw enough darts.
Yes. It's his theory. Same thing the first day when he came in, where it was, one of the housewives statistically has to be, and one of the gamers statistically has to be, which half of that theory is wrong because 0 gamers are traitors as of right now. So he was already half wrong in that because there's 2 housewives that are traitors. So just thinking about it that way, where now he's landed on a new theory of, it's the hunks. One of the 3 of them has to be a traitor. He was just trying to find different groups where then people would have to vote 3 more times to banish these people to clear that theory.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do.
Forever.
Yes, you'll have to pick them out of the group here and then figure out who's the traitor amongst them.
The turret meeting?
The turret meeting is a little rough. Candace is feeling shook up from the round table. She feels really bad about Tiffany going home.
Yeah, she really wanted Tiffany to stay.
Yeah, and just from like the single mom aspect, and like she really needed the money, and so Candace is like feeling guilty about the game a little bit right now as a traitor, which that's kind of the other aspect.
Yeah.
Maybe she's got too big of a heart to be a traitor here. Maybe.
Maybe. I think Lisa will do the rest of the the cutthroat aspects of being a traitor to make up for it.
Yeah, back to Dubai.
So we're down to our short list for murder. We've got Ron. Tiffany got banished, so she comes off the list. Monet, Michael, Tara. Lisa is a traitor, so we can't vote for her. Maura, Johnny, Jam Jam, and Steven.
So they immediately remove anybody who already has some suspicion on them or is considered a traitor amongst the group right now. So that eliminates Ron, Jam Jam, Michael.
Maura's been mentioned, but I don't know if they're really taking that seriously.
Yeah, I don't think that's like a consensus yet. So like they still have a pretty good pool of people to pick from.
Also, we have Monet. And Monet said Lisa's name earlier.
So Lisa is red alert, high alert, because Candace does bring that up. Hey, heads up. We talked about this, but Monet did mention your name. And then Lisa's asking where? Where did Monet say that? And it was like, well, it was just a passing thing while we were picking teams at the challenge. I don't know if anybody else heard it. I don't know if Monet's been telling anyone else the suspicion here. So if we murder Monet, and Monet has been telling other people that Lisa very well could be a traitor, well, that might come back to you.
This is hard because if you leave Monet in the game, Monet's nowhere near being banished.
No.
Right?
Monet's great in the challenges. Monet's
not coming up at all as somebody who may get voted out. Now, do things get crazy here where you could not be named at all and then suddenly you get voted out at the round table?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
But right now, that doesn't seem like it's a realistic possibility. So do you leave Monet in the game to continue possibly bringing Lisa's name up? Or do you take a shot and hope that Monet didn't tell anyone else?
Hope that it hasn't spread, because now if something else happens where then the suspicion increases, you know that Lisa's going to be the first name on that list that starts getting thrown around. So that's going to be a big, big problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Monet is a big threat right now, an immediate threat. It's risky, though. So do you take that shot? Because it could come back to you. It could not, though. You could be eliminating that threat before it gets too bad.
The names that they're floating, aside from Monet, are Tara, Johnny, and Steven.
Which, like, Tara and Johnny, I mean,
I don't see the point in Tara.
I don't see that.
Because Tara's close with Candace, which is good for them. I mean, it's very good for Candace, especially because towards the end, you need faithfuls who believe that you're faithful.
Tara's not a faithful who's theorizing. She is good in the group and she votes with the group. So I think she's like a consensus taker. And then she just kind of rolls with that. And she's good with everybody, all the different cliques.
They're also saying Steven's good in the challenges. I know you don't feel that way.
I don't feel that way. Well, because that's what they were like, oh, we can't do Steven. Steven's really good in the challenges. We'll lose a good challenge guy. I'm thinking back and I'm like, I don't remember him excelling, really. He found those in the Bran Throne challenge.
He found two shields.
He found two of the tokens to swap out, but that was not personal gain. He gave those away. The first mission with the coffins and stuff, they were like setting a coffin down, picking it up.
His boat was the worst.
Deliberating,
boat.
Talking around. Yeah, that was like really bad, actually. But I think for them as traders, a good faithful for missions is somebody who does step up and be like wants
willing
to
be
lead.
A leader.
Yeah, is willing to do that. So then that way the traders don't have to take the front spot.
I like either Monet or Johnny. I don't want Monet to go, but I understand why the traders would do it. Johnny is not good at challenges. Johnny is not winning you guys money.
No.
And
Well, yeah, like the last one was, oh, who do you trust with your life? And Johnny didn't even find 10 skulls in 10 minutes. He didn't even try to stack them. So, like, if you're going to be trusting people with your life in these missions moving forward, would you trust Johnny?
No.
No.
Also, who was he paired up with in that challenge?
Yep, it was Eric.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what got us to
like it for that.
Yes, because then that's close enough to be like, if you're paying attention or if you're reading between the lines, you can kind of see that, like, hey, Eric fucked up, yes, but who put him there to hear that? Johnny did.
Mm-hmm.
So Johnny's out. I think that would be a better play. I don't think that's who they're going to pick.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's who we would have picked if we were in the turret.
Yeah.
But I think that they're going to go with an emotional decision here of it's either they're going to go for the risk with Monet, and that's going to put suspicion on Lisa because Monet mentioned Lisa's name to other people. So that's either going to be the misplay where Lisa catches some heat from that.
Yeah.
Instead of eliminating the risk, she brings it on herself.
I don't know. I think, though, if I'm playing as a traitor, that the risk reward analysis for me is that you have to try. You have to go for Monet now.
Try to eliminate the threat before it gets too big.
Yes. Before that becomes a prevailing theory.
Yeah. I mean, you could do that. I don't think
you have
that
to
they
figure
will.
out how you explain it away.
Right. I don't know if they will, though. So I think they're going to go for Steven is basically what I'm getting to here. Because I think that Lisa's going to say, I don't want to run the risk of if Monet floated my name to other people, I don't want that to come back to me. So she's not going to push for Monet to be murdered. And they're going to have it down to, oh, it's either Johnny or is it Steven? Who's going to go? And then they're going to eliminate Steven because that'll be the bigger blow to the group or whatever. What I'm worried about is that's going to fuel Michael Rappaport's theory of it's one of the hunks, which at the time of him going to bed, there were 3 hunks. But if you murder Steven, now you are left with Colton and Rob in his theory.
Okay, but if they don't murder Steven and Steven walks in at breakfast, is that going to set him off? That look, that's the only one in the list who was one of the hunks who was up for murder as Steven, and Steven survives.
Yes, of course, it's Steven, one of the 10 people who were up for murder.
I was going to say, we're also trying to figure out Michael Rappaport's logic.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go too far down that rabbit trail. So, yeah, I think it could be a number of things. I feel like they're going to go with Steven or Monet, but I don't know if Lisa's going to go for Monet. I think they're going to go with Steven then.
Okay, so that's yours. I'm going to say Monet or Johnny.
Okay.
All right, we'll find out.
We'll see.
The next episode, you guys can listen to it right after this because we're dropping them at the same time.
Stay tuned.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.